G-Man Boxing. Do you know what I mean? Every single live he donates. I see him on other lives donating. He's got the bag on it.
Alright people, in the immediate aftermath of Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Smith, Conor Benn was straight onto Instagram loving the fact that Chris Eubank Jr. got knocked out. And, you know, he mentioned the fact that, someone said that tweet's now been deleted, but screenshots were obviously saved, that Chris Eubank wouldn't have lasted 2 rounds if, if he didn't not fight him, or words to that effect. So Conor Benn obviously having a go at Chris Eubank Jr. And to be fair, right, Chris Eubank Jr. has been doing nothing but having a go at Conor Benn. So you can kind of see where he's coming from in that regard. And again with Billy Joe as well, he's been saying stuff, and you can kind of, I guess at the end of the day, like, if you're going to dish it out, you kind of got to be willing to take it. Now, me personally, I've always been the sort of person where, like, look, if someone does me wrong, and I'm just like, just the hell with it. You know, I might look and just say, well, karma, but I'm normally just like, the hell with it, just let him simmer, let him do whatever. But Conor Benn obviously having a go at Eubank. I think with him, his situation is all the more interesting because, lest we forget, right, the reason why that the fight between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. didn't happen, and looking back in hindsight, seeing how poor Eubank in terms of his punch resistance was against Liam Smith, you know, being a 157 and a rehydration clause, I mean, you know, that really could have been a recipe for disaster right there. I mean, to say it would have been a leveler, it would have been a leveler, and that, you know. But why did that fight not happen? Well, Conor Benn failed the drugs test, and the British Boxing Board of Control said, this fight ain't happening, you failed the drugs test. And then it subsequently emerged that he failed a VADA test in July. So, you know, what's the saying? People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I mean, he actually used that saying, which I found hilarious, because he completely took it out, like, he completely unaware. It was one of those moments where it's like someone's using a verse and it relates to them as well. They're so unaware of that. But look, the whole situation with Conor Benn and the Chris Eubank situation is one thing, right? And this is just in general, is I've never understood it when a rival, you could say Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn, is it a rivalry? I mean, the fight was kind of out of the blue, really. No one really seen it coming. Didn't happen, obviously, but no one really seen it coming. But a lot of back and forth between him and Eubank Jr., yeah. So you could say he's a rival in that regard. But it's always been weird, right? When you see like these rivalries that get a bit personal in boxing, if one fighter loses before the other, it's weird the reaction of the other fighter. Now, say he's not the one inflicting the L on him. It's weird the way they react, isn't it? They really do react as though they've done it. They've been the ones who won the fight. It's weird. The most bizarre example, and again, should we be surprised, was Deontay Wilder when Anthony Joshua lost. Does anyone remember the way Wilder was loving it and acting almost as though he did it? And from the outside looking in, you just look at that and you think, mate, 2 things. One, that could have been you there, right? Because you were offered the money. It was a 100 mil deal to fight Joshua. That could have been you, right? That deal is gonzo. So that deal for career, massive money, which you aren't making, that ain't going to come around now, right? And now you are undisputed. Obviously, this is before we knew he'd be rematching Ruiz. You want a rematch, you got to fight Andy Ruiz, right? And you're not even going to make even close to what you made for it. Just why the hell are you laughing? I think, do you remember Evander Holyfield? When Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson, it shows the different mindset. Holyfield was just like, okay. Now, I know there was no real animosity with Tyson and Holyfield back in 1990, to be fair, but look at Holyfield, he was just like, okay, I want to fight the heavyweight champion. Buster Douglas is the heavyweight champion. I would have rather it be Mike Tyson, but I will fight whoever. And that was that. That was a real, that shows the difference between a Holyfield and a Wilder. With Wilder, it's like, the guy, you know, who has all the other belts, who I'm not fighting, he just lost. Ha 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 ha. Yes, he's just lost. I was like, why are you happy about that? Why are you acting like you did it? I don't get that. So, but that's Deontay Wilder, though. That's just Deontay Wilder. So Conor Benn, enjoying the fact that Chris Eubank Jr. was beaten. And again, as I say, you could kind of see it to some extent. Why? Because Chris Eubank Jr. has been very vocal about Conor Benn, but at the end of the day, Conor Benn still has this UCAD situation coming down on him. And we're not hearing much from UCAD. He's constantly mentioned the WBC. I've gone over that several times. I've mentioned the fact that it's irrelevant what the WBC do. It won't have any bearing on Conor Benn, whether he wants to fight or not. It literally means nothing. If the WBC ban him, so be it. You know, because he can fight for WBO, WBA, whatever. Povetkin, go once, go again. January 2018 was banned for a year by the WBC. Or 2017, sorry, was banned for a year by the WBC. Was still able to fight in 2017, fought twice, and they were for WBA and WBO intercontinental titles respectively. Means nothing. Absolutely nothing. Doesn't mean anything if the WBC take it. It literally means nothing. So I want to know what the whole situation is with UCAD. Apparently he's in Australia now, in training out there. So I would imagine that if he's going to be making a comeback this year, it's going to be against someone in Australia. Maybe not an Australian fighter. I reckon they'll go down the road that they were going down before, saying they'll fight a top 15 and then wheeling out a Robert Guerrero or Victor Ortiz or Andre Berto, someone like that, and say, yeah, look, top 10 welterweight of the past. And then try and pass that off as legit. Because that's all they've been doing for the last couple of years with Benn. And I don't see any reason why they'd stop it. You know, Virgil Ortiz is fighting Stanionis, which is a great fight. Boots Ennis is interim champion with the IBF, and I suspect he will be made full champion this year. God knows what's happening with Spence. And yeah, that's just the difference. Hey, I'll leave you with that. Let me know your thoughts on this whole situation in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. For now, lads and lassies, I'll talk to you. Peace.